never knowing the darkness that was following me, like a mutating virus, one that I couldn't see. And I breathed you in, and I fell again. Now I see the end. Here I am now, I transcend. I want you to know I see who you are, and I'm letting go. You were everywhere, in my everything. I don't need you now. I was looking for answers that were there all the time, but I just couldn't see them. In my heart I was blind. I believed in your story, now I know wasn't true. And I know who I am now, and I know what to do. And I'm breathing in, and I start again. I want you to know I see who you are, and I'm letting go. You were everywhere, in my everything. I don't need you now. Just turn around and go. I can't do this anymore. I want you to know I see who you are, and I'm letting go. You were everywhere, in my everything. I don't need you now. I want you to know that I let you go. I want you to know I see who you are, and I'm letting go. You were everywhere, in my everything. I don't need you now. Oh, I want you to know I see who you are, and I'm letting go. You were everywhere, in my everything. I don't need you now. I want you to know that
Hello, welcome, beautiful people. Good morning, or I should say divine rising, or divine evening to you all, wherever you're coming from. Super excited for today's call. Thank you for being here. It's Saturday. Really, I mean, no matter where you are right now. So I just want to say, you choosing to be here just shows your level of commitment to your own life. And these calls are so interesting because you never know what you're going to get. If you've been on the calls the last, I think today's day 6, it's literally different every single time. You know, like I've been a part of so many different companies, and I've never experienced nor been a part of something so real. and so authentic. We have a core group of people that are just beyond words. It's just amazing to be a part of something that is truly here to help the human race, to free them. And so I'm just super elated to be here. If you don't know who I am, my name is Sam Hidja. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Incomation. And just to be clear, it's not Income Nation, it's Incomation. And so I'm also responsible for leadership development here. And, it's just been such a pleasure to work with some amazing people. And I'm looking forward to all of the new people that are coming in and all of the new leaders that are going to be a part of this. We're calling you guys in. If you don't feel my heart, I'm sure you will as time goes on, and you'll feel all the other leaders. But I'm really interested and I'm curious, where are you guys calling in from? What city, state, country? We're really trying to keep tabs on where our audience and where our people are coming in from. We got Sweden, Mr. or Mrs. Sorry, my vision's kind of going out now. It's like 11. Sweden, Pavel, Wilhelm, Sweden as well. Courtney Hill, Florida. Beautiful. Just comment down below where you're coming in from, and if we're actually live streaming YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. Are we doing Instagram yet or no? We need to get on Instagram. Brooklyn, New York. Beautiful. Yeah, I just want to, you guys, it's probably early for the people out in the States. So like I said, it just shows the level of commitment that you guys have towards your own life and to truly creating freedom. So I just want to congratulate you for being here. You could have just been doing anything else. You probably could have went out last night, had a couple of brewskis with the boys and just slept in, but you're here. So big congratulations to you guys for really being committed to your life. We got Norway, Mr. Gareth. I hear it's pretty cold out there right now. I was just on another call. Incomation actually just got me in Nas Daily live call where they're using AI. It's pretty cool. The guy was talking about he's in Sweden. It's like -26. I'm like, I'm so glad I'm out here in the Philippines. So yeah, we're gonna get started here shortly. We got some people all over. We got some people in Europe and America. But yeah, like I said, if you haven't been on these calls, they're literally different every single time. And the beautiful thing about this is that we are just truly sharing from the heart what we know works. And so, a lot of the core team, including this Mr. Divine, CEO and the founder of Incomation, we've gone through so many different things, so many different deals, and we have the experience to kind of help you guys basically guide yourself through a whole mess. It's you've probably heard of the saying a stupid man has to learn from his mistakes, a smart man learns from his mistakes, and a wise man learns from other people. So really pay attention to what you're going to hear today. There's going to be so many bombs dropped, just like every single time. We have no clue. We don't really have a framework of how we're operating this. We're literally just sharing from the heart. And so just be open to the information. Have your heart open, have your mind open. I heard this a long time ago that your mind only works if it's open. It's similar to a parachute, right? So it only works if it's open. And so I'm not going to go on too much further. I get to introduce our CEO, Mr. Jamie Divine. He's a legend in the industry, but more so, he just has a big heart for people. And if you haven't heard, he's basically gone through and created a whole system that makes all the other bullshit systems obsolete and really helps the everyday person to create true freedom, whether it's on a financial level or freedom within. And so I'll let him kind of explain a little bit more. And we have some awesome people like Mr. Josh. And I'm not sure if Nicholas is on today, but you're going to get to hear a lot from them and their stories. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mr. Jamie Devine. Bring it on, brother.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. I guess we're sitting today, so we calm down a little bit. If you've been on these calls for the last, I guess this is day 6. I see some familiar faces that you've been on every single call. And as Sam said, every single one is so different because we're not doing the traditional intellectual script here. We're just, tuning in to the divine and giving you a divine download of what you need to hear. And sometimes, as the old saying goes, the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. And so many of you will be pissed off by some of the things that we'll say today. I mean, shit, sometimes I get pissed off by some of the things that I say because it reminds me of the experiences that we've been through. I got a great close friend of mine on the call, Mr. Josh Willamant, looking sharp, bud. He's out in Colombia, and we'll bring him on in just a minute. But really, I first want to just give you if this is your first time and first experience of us, do my best to keep it short and quick to share the vision. And if you're anything like me, you've been on a wild goose chase your entire life, not really feeling like you fit in to most of the traditional programming. Speaking of vision, there's a reason they call it television programming. Television programming. So you've been getting programmed your entire life by people that don't have your best interest at heart. And in many cases, don't have a fucking heart. They're ego-driven, they're parasites, and they gained their wealth from taking advantage of people, and now they are able to have a monopoly over the media and the television programming. And so we've been blessed this last couple decades as social media has really taken off, and now it's not just the guys at the top with the trillions of dollars that are parasites trying to program you with whatever they want. COVID. Now it's guys like us that we could just come in here and share you a whole different world, a whole different experience, something that maybe sounds like Chinese to you. I know it did to me at first because all I had heard my whole life is this ego, fear-based external programming, chasing everything outside of myself, trying to increase my financial picture because it was, to me, tied to my actual worth as a being. That's why they call it net worth. So I don't care if you have no money and you're chasing it because you're in survival, or if you're the billionaire. Our mentors worked with many billionaires that have completely sad lives, and they were chasing getting from the Forbes 11th on the list. Now they want to be 8th, or else they're not worthy. Absolutely crazy. So that's the ego. That's that old traditional system. And what we're doing here is creating our own divine verse that you're able to tune into and experience a whole different way of being. And we're creating all those systems so that it makes the traditional ones obsolete. You got to realize everything that you're tuned into, every system that's been created was just created by a human exactly like you, maybe just before you came onto the planet, and you looked at them as the god and the authority, and you followed all their rules because we didn't know any better. But as you experience more in life and you wake up and become fully conscious of everything that's happening, you realize, hey, I can create, I have the power to create just like they did. And we're here today to talk about the financial world, the financial realm, as one of the major pieces. That's what most people are tuned into, thinking that that will provide them the freedom. I know for me, that's what it was. It was a long journey, many years, millions of dollars, ups and downs, crazy roller coasters all around. And no matter how much I had, it was never enough. And no matter how free I was never free. And many of you still think that that's the answer. I love what Jim Carrey says. I hope that everyone becomes rich and famous, to find out that that's not the answer. So what is the answer? Well, first, wouldn't it be nice to actually have a safe haven where you could put your financial energy that isn't being led by ego-driven parasites that want to suck you dry and rug pull and scam and straight up lie to you? It stems at the very top. Anyone that's done any research about what money is and how it's created knows that back many years, when money was tied to the gold standard, the government just decided, nope, not anymore. 1971, took it off the gold standard, which then gave the banks the power to create as much as they wanted. And guess what? It was just a room full of politicians and bankers, humans, that decided this, that, hey, well, how about we have all the power to not only create all the money, but then lend it to the government with compound interest, so that the government is constantly in debt to us. And therefore, as a byproduct, no matter how much income tax, they can suck you dry at 50%. Imagine that. If you're a high income earner in Canada or the US, half of your year, 50% of your income is going to this faceless, life-sucking financial machine that, no matter how much you pay in tax, is just completely eaten up by interest. It doesn't even cover the interest payment of the debt that the government owes to the central bank. Not one penny can go to services. Imagine that. And look at the debt. I mean, you could just search US debt clock and see how much it's going up every single second. You don't think that's going to collapse? So it stems from the very top. So then when you get to the realms of, oh, I know this guy that's offering this Forex system and trading and investing. I mean, if you're getting screwed and scammed at the top, what chance do you have with the people that are tied into that system? And then back it up with, maybe you've never had experience before, you never dealt with these types of systems before, and you're just naive, like I was early on, like Josh was early on. We have many horror stories that we could tell you of a lot of money lost to these systems. So that's the problem. That's why you guys are tuning in, right? Because where can you put your financial energy that is actually protected and going to grow? Because yeah, you can put it into the traditional big banks, but what are you going to get? 1% a year? And how much is going to inflation? Well, ever since COVID happened, I mean, the inflation in the US has been around 10, 15, up to 20% a year. You go down to places like Venezuela, and you're looking at, in the last few years, 10% a month was normal for inflation. So just for you to break even, you have to make 10% a month on the money, or 10% a year. Same shit. And then they tell you the inflation rate is, oh, no, it's only 2%, 3%. But they base it on five products in a grocery aisle that they can just manipulate and change the products out. Oh, bread only went up 3%. Let's put that into the base of where we calculate the interest, the inflation. So at the very core, the whole thing was created by parasites. The Federal Reserve Bank, the central banking system, when it was created, it was a private corporation, not federal, no reserves, and not even a bank. Don't take my word for it. Do some research. But okay, we know what the problem is, right? Everywhere that you probably tried to put your money in, Forex and crypto has been taken, right? They guaranteed you a percentage and then it was gone. Maybe you were one of the lucky ones and got in early on the Ponzi and you made some of your money back. But then you ruined your name and reputation and your audience for sharing something that you thought was legitimate, but wasn't. So just put a 1 in the chat if you've been screwed, scammed, rug pulled on with your investment money. Okay, yeah, 1. 1,000, a million. Yeah, exactly. So the only way that we were able to even create, we had to create it. There was no safe zone for us. We had to create it, literally from the top down. So not too long, a couple more weeks, and we have our own financial banking system where you have multiple currencies in fiat and multiple currencies in crypto. And you have your own debit card. And it's part of our ecosystem. That's just one of the pieces. Then there's the brokerages, because if you want to get into Forex, foreign exchange, $5 trillion a day industry, money moving every millisecond as we're talking. And the banks, man, I've been traveling the world for years. They don't tell you how much they take for the FX fee. So if you don't know anything about Forex, you're getting raped. You pull out cash here in the Philippines in pesos from a Canadian dollar account, you're paying 10, 20% in the exchange rate, but it's hidden in the dollar to peso. So you don't know. It's not like they say, oh, this is the fee. No, it's like you pull out 10,000 pesos, and instead of the real exchange rate being whatever it is, $300, you're actually pulling out 350 for that 10,000 pesos. But who would know that, right? Who's going to go on Google and see the real-time exchange rate of the market after they pull out cash and check it on both sides? No one's going to know how to do that. So if you want to get involved in Forex, you need a brokerage, because the banks don't take any orders less than $1 million. So if you want to make a trade through a legitimate bank, you have to have $1 million. Don't have that? Okay, well, then you got to go through a broker. And the brokers allow you to do as low as $10 deposits, right? And then they collectively trade to the banks. But guess what? They don't need to do that. And I've been on calls with liquidity providers all week. Those are the guys that when you make a trade to the market, it's actually getting filled, the order's getting filled. And they told me straight up, this is one of the biggest liquidity providers. They've been around for years. 100% of our clients who are brokerages, 100% of our clients have toxic order flow, which means they're able to manipulate the trades, and they're a B-book system, which means they're able to keep the trades in-house. They don't even have to send it to the market. So you put your money into the brokerage, you make a trade. Let's say it would be a successful trade if it was on real time on the real market, which you wouldn't know the difference. You're just looking at the brokerage numbers. And the broker keeps it in-house because 9 out of 10 traders are going to lose, so they can pocket all the money. And if you're actually making a successful trade, they can manipulate the slippage, the spreads, the commissions, everything to make a successful trade a losing trade. To what? Keep your money. So we had to create our own brokerage, because how else are you going to know unless you see the full picture? So we created our own brokerage. Then, of course, we needed a real trading system, because if you've been around the retail space, you know that anyone and their mom could code a AI machine learning robot in Forex on ChatGPT, literally for free. I encourage you to do it. Go to ChatGPT, say, I want to create a code for a Forex robot using whatever strategy, martingale strategy. And you'll see within a few seconds, ChatGPT will create the exact software code that you need for your new AI algorithm robot. And then these guys are selling them for hundreds or thousands of dollars a piece. And it just blows up and everyone loses their money. So we needed a legitimate institutional trading system. Because as you'll hear from Josh, these are multi-million-dollar developments in algorithm. Because if you're a bank or a hedge fund and you're managing billions of dollars, how much are you going to invest to be able to literally just create money with technology? Because if you're not the central bank, you can't do that. There is something called fractional reserve banking, which means if you're a bank, whatever you have in deposit, you're able to lend out 10 times the amount. 10 times the amount. I used to think that, okay, I make $1,000 deposit, maybe they can lend some of that out to make interest or whatever. No, I put $1,000 in, they can lend someone else $10,000 on that 1,000. They need 10% of the money in reserve. And each bank is a little bit different, goes up and down for the reserves they need. But imagine that. They can just create money out of thin air and lend it to you. And you think the money's real and it's actually in the bank. Well, I encourage you, if you have some money in the bank, call your bank and say that you want to withdraw $100,000. They didn't ask you any questions when it came in. Watch how long it takes and how many questions they ask for you to take it out. And a lot of the times it's because they have to get it from other branches or the central bank because they don't even have it on reserve. And they make it really difficult to get your money. So whose money is it really? Yours or theirs? So institutional trading system, of course they'd spend millions on it. And then you think they're going to sell it to some guy that has a startup who's advertising to you that you can join his PAM scam and have AI machine learning. And you think that's going to work for very long? Like, are you kidding? Of course not. And by all the ones that I saw in the chat, you guys have all experienced that and been scammed because of that. So if you're in the retail space, it's literally a license for all these brokerages, prop firms, whatevers, to steal your money. They literally have a license to steal your money. And if you're in the institutional world and you have a legitimate trading software, an algorithm, because they're all using algorithms now, you have a license to create money. So here comes a question. How, as a retail average person, are you able to get into an institutional level system? Well, I'll tell you how. You got to be an accredited investor. You have to be high net worth. You got to have a minimum $250,000 deposit to get into it. How many people in the retail market have that? Those credentials? Almost no one. So we were able to create a bridge that I'll get Josh to share, where we were able to be the accredited investor with the 250,000 and then open it up to everyone in the community, all the retail people, for a $500 minimum deposit that you could benefit the exact same from the exact same system. So with that, I'll bring Josh on, let him share the Forex fund, the team behind that, Yako, his algorithm, everything that it takes behind the scenes to run that, because Josh has been working with only high net worth and institutional clients for around 3 or 4 years. He started in the retail space and realized there's absolutely nothing legitimate there. And he was sick of putting his name on the line, you know, being lied to, sharing systems that said that they worked, but they didn't. And he found institutional, legitimate people that now he's just in the institutional world making rich people richer. And up until now, there was no way for retail to be involved with institution. So Josh, you want to come on and share maybe a little bit of a horror story to to just confirm what I'm saying. I know they all know it, but and then just how that all came together and how we're able to give them access to it.
Absolutely. So everybody, happy Saturday. Good to see you all here and committed. Lots of new faces on the call today. So I'll start by giving you guys a brief background of myself and then how Jamie and the specific opportunity we're talking about in bridging the institutional to the retail, how it all came about. So myself, I have been a full-time entrepreneur now for over a decade, and I first got exposure and involved specifically in the finance world around 2017, 2018. And my first exposure was to the cryptocurrency bull run market at that moment in time. And to me, I just simply seen how lucrative it was and how much money there was to be made in the industry. So I knew that's where I needed to plant my flag. But I didn't know all of the roller coaster rides that I was actually going to go on during this time. So specifically, I started in the retail space from 2017 until 2019. I was actually partnered with Jamie on multiple different projects during that time. And Jamie and myself, we flew all around the world building these different businesses. We built it up to thousands and thousands of customers, and we did our job, which again was marketing, etc. But where we got caught up was we kept chasing our tail in circles and running into the same problem on repeat. And what that problem was one, the corporate CEOs and owners of the companies, they'd either have fights amongst the corporate leadership staff, and that would cause the company to completely collapse. Or the other thing is that we were promised these great, wonderful products, and then when we'd actually get involved using them, testing them with our own money, the products would just collapse in months. So I was simply tired of putting so much time and energy into these type of adventures for it just to all collapse overnight. So that's when in 2019, with the contacts, relationships, and network I built from the retail space, I also built a huge network of institutional people. So this included traders, fund managers, various hedge funds, etc. And that's when I decided to actually fully transition into the institutional world and build a real stable business and home, because again, I was completely over the BS repeat of the retail industry. So 2019 until now is when the institutional world has been my main home and focus. And as Jamie mentioned, the investors that we were going after during that time was a minimum of 250K. And of course, because of that and the regulatory side of things, they needed to be an accredited investor, high net worth individual, etc. But what I can also share is that when I was involved in the retail space, that was the funnest moment of my career. And the reason for that is because it really led down to the heart and actually being able to help the small guy. So when I transitioned into the retail space, sure, it was great. Sure, we made a lot of money. But at the end of the day, it was just helping rich people get richer. So when Jamie called me about 6-7 months ago and was looking for these new type of systems, to real trading systems, to bridge the gap between the retail space and institutional world, I was 100% all in. But as mentioned, to get our fund managers to trade these small retail accounts of $500, $1,000, they would simply just laugh in our face if we presented that to them. So Jamie and I, the main problem to make this bridge happen is that we needed to find the bridge of how to make the deposit of $250K and how to bridge it to $500. So the solution, how we've been able to facilitate that, is we're putting everything into what is called a PAM account. And a PAM account, it's very technical, etc. If you don't know what it is, I encourage you to go research it after this call. But in most simple terms, what a PAM account is a pooled account of clients' money. So let's say client A is coming in with $500 and client B is coming in with $100,000. It doesn't matter the deposit size, it's all going to be pooled into that one account. But why I'm highlighting this is because, again, the solution. So as long as we have this account at a minimum of $250,000 to make it work on the institutional side, we can accept any deposit of after that, and the minimum deposit is $500. So that is a brief story of myself and how we've actually bridged the retail to the institutional world. But most importantly, now I'll actually speak about who's running the strategy, what the strategy is, etc. So our main fund manager, I've personally known him and been working with him for over 4 years. And his name is Yako. So Yako, he has over 20 years of actual real trading experience in the industry. And prior to leaving the traditional corporate hedge fund world and creating his own fund, he was working at what is called the Cargo Fund in Canada. And at the Cargo Fund, Yako, he was responsible for managing a book value of over $40 billion. And also, when Yako left that world, he brought his entire team with him. And his team also, which will be managing this account, it consists of over 15 different individuals. And a part of his team, it includes fund managers, analysis, mathematicians, and engineers. So specifically, because of the mathematicians and engineers, he was able to build his entire systems and algorithms in-house, which, if you know anything about the trading world, this is super, super important, because as Jamie at the beginning of the call was talking about all the different opportunities, from AI bots to bots you can just download on eBay or buy off the internet, and that's what's being publicly promoted in the retail space. And also why real algorithms never ever hit the marketplace is because when the real algorithms like Yako's do hit the marketplace, they simply get bought up overnight by the real hedge funds and banks. So that's why, again, the retail world, they do not stand a chance in this industry. It's a small fish up against huge sharks and whales. And then to close off on the strategy and technology, so Yako, his team, in part of building it in-house, they also spent $20 million to actually build and put this technology together. So what the technology is doing, the markets, statistics, etc. So firstly, the main markets that we are trading in are the Euro USD, USD JPY, and lastly, the Euro JPY. So those are the only 3 asset classes that we trade with this strategy. And why I highlight that is because with these asset classes, those are the most 3 liquid currency pairs in the entire world, which means the volatility stays relatively low, which on the risk side, that means it drastically reduces our risk. So that's why I highlight the currency pairs that we're trading in. And then for statistics on the strategy, so to start on statistics, we have 7 years of tracked, verified data. And in the 7 years of tracked data, we have never had one losing year in our entire history. We do have losing months, but we always recover for the month and mainly the year. And every single year has been positive in that 7 years of data. And then for ROI on our 7 years of data, this is our most conservative strategy for the 7 years of data. So we're averaging roughly 60% a year, which equals to 5% a month. And then the max drawdown to achieve those ROI and those returns was 14%. And that happened in 2018. And then typically the drawdown stays under and averages under 10% on record. And then because this is a retail call and a retail type of investors, we know that you guys are looking for more high returns, obviously, because the capital you'll be starting with is smaller than the institutional whales. So for this PAM that we're talking about today, we are going to be targeting, and with this strategy, we're going to double it up, which means that we're going to be targeting 100 to 120% a year. And the average drawdown to achieve those returns will typically stay under 20%. And then lastly, but most importantly, I want to talk about investor transparency. So again, in the retail space, I guarantee you that 99.9% of all opportunities in this space and industry are just straight up scams. So on the transparency side of things, Jamie and myself wanted to create this model where it provides the utmost transparency to the client. So first and foremost, we wanted our clients to always be in 100% full control of their capital. And how we've managed to do that is again with the PAM account. So when you go and create and get set up with the PAM account, you'll create an account in your own name. And with that account, you are the only one able to deposit and withdraw to that account. We never ever have access to your money to deposit or withdraw. And all we can do on that account is simply trade and trade only. And then further on for transparency, we wanted you guys to see absolutely everything that's going on behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, I mean trading wise. So we have created a system where literally live 24/7, you guys will be able to see each and every trade that is on the account, open trades, closed trades. You guys will be able to see the profit live 24/7, drawdown live 24/7. So again, we wanted to leave nothing in the dark or behind closed doors. And then lastly, for transparency, we charge 0 management fees, 0 hidden fees, and 0 upfront fees. So us as a company, how we're making money, it's 100% profit share based model, which means that when our PAM account is in a plus for the month, we're going to charge profit share off of that profit. And we designed it this way because it simply aligns us to be in the best interest and on the same side of the investor. Because if we're not profiting, one, we're not charging profit share, which also means two, we as a company alongside our investors are also not getting paid. So that is a brief overview of myself, the strategy, and the actual fund managers, Yako. And what I can really close off with is what Jamie was highlighting. We've been in this space now for a good 8-9 years, and the amount of trials and tribulations just Jamie and myself had to go through to get to this very moment of sharing these opportunities with the retail space. It most definitely has been a journey. But yeah, Jamie, I'm super excited to actually bring a real legit opportunity to this space and this industry because it's most definitely needed. But again, thank you, Jamie, for having me here.
Awesome, Josh. We got children in the background now. Family's getting pretty big over here. Josh, before we shift into the crypto fund, just real quick question. So after 8-9 years, even the 3 years in institutional you've done, how, and you're testing all the time. I know you have hundreds of questions now at this point to vet someone because of how many bullshitters are out there. So literally, how many could you count after all that experience, 9 years testing all these systems? How many trading systems could you say that that you found that are legit? Like, how many could you name?
That's actually an interesting question, and really the first step for us when we got into the institutional world was we partnered with a fund in Australia. And our main responsibility on my side and my partner's side is this fund. They had all this access to capital and AUM, but they didn't have any traders for themselves. So what they asked us to do is to go find strategies to bring to their capital and their AUM. But why I highlight this is because that was our first step, even in the institutional world, outside of the retail world. So what my partners and myself did is we put together a strict due diligence process to vet traders. And in this due diligence process, we literally have probably over 50 questions. And literally in the first 3-4 questions, you know if the individual is real. But I highlighted that story because it answers your question. And just to find Yako, for example, no word of a lie, we spent over 6 months doing trader interviews, and we did anywhere from 500 to 1,000 interviews. And that was, again, just to find Yako. But something else is that my time in the institutional world, I've been keeping my eye on the retail space as well. And specifically, 2023 is actually when I got most back involved in the retail world. I didn't promote any products. More specifically, I used my own capital to test these different products last year. And it's the same story on repeat. We are even, the horror stories I can give are quite scary. But last year, some of the horror stories we've seen is one, we are giving this FX book with 3-4 years of data. Wow, data looks great. We gave the individual a couple $100,000 of our own money. 2 months later, that money was gone. And on their main master account of the FX book, we were watching that account. It goes into 98% drawdown, and then the broker adds a fake $1 million into that account to save it, not knowing we're watching it and watching what's going on behind the scenes. And then another story I can give for last year as well, getting back into the retail space, is my partners and I, we were trading on our own account privately. It was roughly a 400 or 500K account. And we were profitable for over a year on this account. And then guess what happens? The owner, the broker, starts calling us up, telling us how to trade. We're starting to get, whoa, what's going on here? And then the cherry on the top for that story is we had about $17,000 sitting in a wallet on this specific broker. My partners and I wake up one morning, that broker took $17,000 out of our wallet and basically told us to go screw ourselves. But why I highlight the broker is because when we started to get profitable and they were paying us out hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's when the owner of the broker started to be on our ass and literally hated us and was out in a vengeance to completely destroy everything we had going on. So yeah, the horror stories in this industry are quite out of this world.
Absolutely crazy. And I know the broker owner that you're talking about because both you and I met him in person multiple times. You know, we got wined and dined and brought to his facility that we thought was real. Found out later it was a WeWork fucking co-work space. But he's gotten awards in the industry. You know, one of the top brokerages. You know, highlighted at the expos. You know, like sponsoring all these events, and you think that they're legit. And as Josh said, the reason why the relationship totally fell apart is because he actually had successful trading on the account. Imagine that. And this broker saying all the things you hear from the brokers, no, we're a book. We send all of the trades live to the market. We only make money on a little spread. We want you to win, and we're partners. And at the end of the day, as soon as they were making successful trading, as Josh said, it's literally taking it from their own bank account. Okay, it's literally the profits they had to pay out literally are from their own bank account, and that's why they started to hate Josh, because if they're not sending the trades to the live market, then they have to cover those trades themselves, which again, 9 times out of 10 are losing trades. So that's why they pocket all the money. But when someone is successful, they do everything they can to sabotage it. They create the entire trading environment. They can work with the trading technology to change all the numbers. As Josh said, in the PAM he was a part of, $1 million fake dollars was put into the fund just to show that they were successfully trading out of drawdown, which wasn't true at all, and they all ran off with money. So yeah, excited to have a real solution finally. So Josh, you did answer my questions. Basically sounded like only Yako, but just to really clarify, so it's one thing to listen to what people say. It's a whole other thing to watch what they do, as you highlighted. And that's the one thing that I want to highlight right now, is that our personal funds are going into 2 places: the Forex fund with Yako and the crypto fund with Josh and his team. And we found a solution for ourselves. That's why we're opening it up to everyone. So Josh, outside of Yako and crypto, is there any other place that you're not just testing, but that you actually feel safe with your personal money in?
There is, but these guys are more so institutional monsters, which can be a product we talk about further down the line. But yeah, there is. But to answer your question, what I would say is that out of our interview process, every 1 out of 1,000 traders is real.
And that's on the institutional side. What would you say on the retail?
1 out of 1 out of 10 million.
Do you even have 1 in the retail?
That in the retail we don't. So
Okay, so it's 1 in 8. No, it's 0 in 8 billion. Is that what we're
correct.
Okay, thanks for making that extra clear. Appreciate it. So let's shift gears into the crypto fund. The one thing about the Forex fund, just to recap, so as Josh said, it's an institutional system. The only reason we have access to it is because we're doing a high deposit, like what is minimum for the institutional high net worth clients, and then put it on a PAM, which just gives you all sub accounts and whatever percentage made on the master you make on your sub. So really simple there. The other thing is that the trades need to be closed, but as soon as the trades are closed, and this will happen once a month with Yako and his team, you're able to withdraw any amount, whether it's the profit or your entire money, at any time once a month. So it's very liquid, that PAM Forex system. So shifting gears into the crypto fund, this is really exciting, especially if you're don't have a whole lot of funds to to earn off of, right? If you just have a small amount of capital, which is very normal and common in the retail space. The crypto fund, I watched Josh in 2021 just have an absolute ridiculous personal year. Side note to that is that he went through our mentor's process, Don, to experience this egoless state without any fear. And Josh knew me and I knew Josh before we went through that process. And both of us in different ways were fully engulfed in that fear-driven ecosystem. One example that's kind of funny, and I'll just I'm just going to share it. Josh is going to laugh, but before we went through that process, is one example, because this highlights how important it is to be in the financial realm without ego, is Josh had what we laughed jokingly, like with just between friends, we called it his comfort account. So he had all of his savings and money in this comfort account, which is just this regular, traditional bank in Canada that didn't make anything on the money. So just living in that scarcity, right? And then after the process, he I watched him literally, and I'm not suggesting this for anyone, I'm just showing the difference of what happened. So Josh literally took all of his funds in the traditional systems, like the comfort account, and put it all into his high growth aggressive account in crypto, and at the age of 22 became a multimillionaire from that one decision, to move from the old traditional scarcity mentality to I'm gonna go with this and take the risk, and that obviously when you're talking about investing money, that's it has a lot to do with that, where you're coming from, that foundation. So anyway, he had an explosive year, turned just tens of thousands into millions. And I was following him the whole time, and of course getting advice from Josh. And then crypto went quiet for last few years, as it does in a bear market. And the bull market started showing signs again. And Josh said, "Hey, I'm going to open this up to help a few friends and family." And I thought, well, I want Josh on my team when it comes to crypto, because I know he's just all in, in that realm. And so I sent him the deposit for the friends and family. And then I said, "Josh, we got to open this up for our whole community." And he was like, "Don't know how we'll do that legally." I said, "No, I'll figure that part out. Don't worry." He's like, "Okay, well, if you can figure it out, I'm game." So that's where we're at now, is that we opened it up to everyone instead of Josh just taking my personal funds and helping us close friends and family with it. We opened it up to the entire community. It's already live, and you can start depositing. He's started trading on it about a month or two ago when I sent it. But Josh, you tell him a little bit of your experience in the crypto ride.
Yes, so as mentioned, I've been in the crypto space. My first exposure, 2016, 2017, I actually bought the utmost highs of that market. But that was, I got involved during all the FOMO and etc. just because I had nothing or no idea what crypto even was. I was just seeing the crazy percentages that were happening per day. But after that specific bull run chilled out, after seeing the returns and the possibilities of what other individuals were making, I knew that I had to dive head deep into that space. So obviously the first thing I started to do is research. So first and foremost, I deep studied Bitcoin and the white paper, the vision of why it was created. And that absolutely just blew my mind, because at the end of the day, Bitcoin, why it was created, intended to be created, was anti-government, anti-fiat system, etc. And I was already on board that train, so it was like a perfect match. And then I started to dive down the rabbit hole of altcoins, specifically because altcoins have a way more higher ROI potential than Bitcoin. So from that information, etc., learning from high-level individuals on my side too, I started to put together an investment thesis for what I was going to do between 2018 to the following bull run, which was 2021. And why I'm highlighting this investment thesis is because it's the exact same for what we're doing with our crypto fund today. So first and foremost, we do not invest in any BS meme coin pump and dump projects that offer no real use case utility to the real world or the market. Secondly, we take a deep dive of the actual team that's running the project. What have they done in their business career in the past? Have they been successful with that? And then thirdly, we use zero leverage So we're not interested in trying to time the absolute bottom of the market or trying to time the absolute top. Just leverage, you're going to get liquidated, and that's ridiculous. So we only use spot trading, which means that we actually physically own the coins that we actually purchase. And then to give an example of what I did last bull run. So from 2017 until 2019, I was solely focused on stacking as much crypto as I possibly could. And my greatest trades, if you will, or positions that I did during that last bull run was VChain, ticker symbol VEP. My average buy price for that was half a penny. And then my average sell price for that was between 20 cents and 25 cents. And then my other greatest project was Matic and Polygon. Average buy price for this was roughly 2 cents, and then average sell price was between $2 and $2.50. And the total ROI across our whole portfolio was about 8,000%, and we achieved that in a 2 to 3 year time frame. And then obviously we've seen this bull run starting to form last year, and why we have predicted a bull run last year is going to occur this year and perhaps into 2025 is for 4 bullish thesis points. The first one was the ETF news started to come out last year, and we knew just by the contacts we have that this was going to get approved. And here we are 3 days ago, the ETF got approved. So what the ETF has done is made the world's biggest institutions, BlackRock, etc., to get involved in the crypto markets. And obviously that's going to drive billions, if not trillions of dollars of new liquidity into the markets. So bullish thesis point number 1 is already checked off. Bullish thesis point number 2 is April of this year is what's going to occur in April is something that is called Bitcoin halving. So if you're not familiar with Bitcoin halving, I highly suggest to go research it, as it's a very in-depth, long topic. But in most simple terms, Bitcoin halving happens every 4 years, and it's been happening since the creation of Bitcoin in 2008. And what happens, again, historically, is every time Bitcoin halves, 1 year following the Bitcoin halving, which if it happens this April, that would mean April of 2025, again, this is all historically, is that Bitcoin is at an all-time high in price after 1 year after the Bitcoin halving. So that's bullish thesis point number 2. Bullish thesis point number 3 is our team is predicting that the Federal Reserve and mostly all Western nation countries this year are going to start to lower interest rates, which will of course drive cash into literally every single financial system, from the stock market to the real estate market, but more specifically the crypto markets. And then lastly, our next and last bullish thesis point is that this year, 2024, November, is the US presidential elections. And of course, the current sitting president always loves to drive up the markets for the elections to make himself look like a hero. And I mean, just looking at the stock market right now, in December of last year, US 30 all-time highs, S&P 500 about to break all-time highs, and Bitcoin, it's still somewhat correlated to those markets. So just the fact the stock market's breaking all-time highs, bullish for Bitcoin. So that's when we've seen all these bullish thesis points starting to align around Q3, Q4 of last year, is when we decided with our own personal money to build massive positions in the crypto space. But we also decided to build a friends and family only crypto fund. And of course, Jamie, wanting to help everybody, he gave me a call and said, is there any way we can open this up to the public for my community? And the only hesitation I had was obviously the legal side of things, which Jamie squared off. So what I can say for the fund being open to the public is outside of Incomation and Jamie, we simply refused to touch any other outside money. So essentially for the public, this crypto fund is only for Incomation. And then lastly, the expectations for this crypto fund. So if all goes according to plan, again, all the bullish thesis points I gave are aligning to a crypto bull run, but at the end of the day, we don't have a crystal ball and a bull run just simply could not happen. So that's the risk disclaimer. But if all goes according to plan, we are looking for a rough 12 to 18 month hold. And on our side, we will only be charging profit share once. It's not going to be like the FX PAM where we're charging it monthly. And why we're only charging it once is to simply maximize the profit for the investor. And that, like I said, 12 to 18 month window of holding. We're actually looking more so of around November of this year to May of next year. And then once we cash out every single position back into cash, that's when also the client's money will become liquid again. And that's also when we will charge our profit share. So that's the expectations of the fund. And lastly, again, if all goes according to plan, we will be targeting a minimum ROI for this fund of 1,000%. So yeah, that's a bit about my crypto journey, our crypto fund, and the expectations. Back to you, Jamie.
Awesome, Josh. Super exciting stuff. So didn't catch it. Just to recap, Josh said he did a 40 to 50x on his money with VeChain and 100x on his money with Matic. Imagine that. And we open it up for a $500 minimum. So again, just to compare the Forex fund, monthly liquidation, you can pull as much as you want out. You can deposit more every single month in the Forex fund, shooting for about 100% return for the year. Josh's crypto fund, you're locked for about 12 months. We have an individual agreement with each of you for the crypto fund. It's as simple as filling that agreement out, depositing into the crypto wallet, and we send it to Josh's team, and that's it. So his target's 1,000%. He did over 8,000 in 2021. No one has a crystal ball, but I mean, it really, really important in crypto to know not only what to get involved with, but when to get involved and when to get out. That's the most important thing. And if you don't have teams and you're dedicated every day researching, keeping the pulse, keeping your finger on the pulse like Josh and his team, you're most likely going to get used as liquidity for the teams like Josh, right? And that's what he experienced in his very first run in crypto in 2017, buying at the top when all the retail people thought that was the time, and not getting out because they didn't know when the whales were simply going to dump all the money and take off with their cash, which was the retail people's cash. So right now, we have everything included into our membership portal. It's absolutely free. As of February 1st, it's not going to be absolutely free. We've been doing this for weeks now to give you guys absolutely zero excuse to get inside the community and get involved with everything that we're doing. So I encourage you, reach out to who invited you to the call, use their partner link, sign up for free, and you'll be inside our membership portal and have access to everything. So the last thing I want to highlight, which to me is the most important, is our mentor, Don Smith. Up until myself experiencing Don's process, money was my God. Didn't know any better. It was the thing everyone else was after. It was the thing that I thought would bring me absolute freedom. And when I got enough and I was location independent and financially independent, I realized that I had absolutely no solution to deal with the deep-rooted toxic patterns and programs that were unconsciously running every single fucking decision in my life. And the money just fueled those patterns, just gave me more time and more money to make those toxic decisions unconsciously. So, like everything else that we've been talking about of high value, Don's program was not accessible to the average person before I met him. He was dealing with the world's elite, the guys that had all the influence, because he had something very valuable and very special. Still to this day, he's the only person on earth that can do what he does, and he does it fast. I did 15 years of personal development before I met Don. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, thousands and thousands of hours, flew all over the world, meeting all the top gurus, coaches, consultants, experiencing the seminars, going through the plant medicine ceremonies with the shamans, literally tried it all. And when I met Don to take his process, April 2020, I still had every single toxic pattern and program. Literally none of them were gone. The only thing I experienced was I had a few extra zeros to my name than when I had started out in my journey. These are the only difference. I was still repeating an ego program that I created and gave power to as just a baby. I was just a baby when I handed over the keys to my entire life to the ego. And I wasn't aware of how I did that or when I did it. And I definitely wasn't aware of how I could reverse it until I met Don, went through a process of about an hour and a half. He asked me question after question. He didn't give me any answers. I found them all myself. He didn't give me anything. I found all the power after I got rid of what I thought was me, which was the ego. And I gave you just one small example of how Josh's trajectory totally changed financially. But we're talking multiple realms, whether it's physical, relationship. I couldn't hold a healthy relationship until I went through that program, because everything I was creating was coming from that deep-rooted pain. So of course I was going to create relationships of pain and suffering and betrayal and all of that. I've met people in person that have gone through Don's program that had stage 4 cancer. And after Don's program, cancer was in remission. You are creating everything in your life, including the cancer, including the financial situation. Powell says, I think I'm going to marry Don. I did in my way. As soon as I went through it, I'm like, this guy, I'm not letting you get out of my sight. I invited him down to Mexico, where I was based at the time, and convinced him that instead of charging $125,000 each in group settings like he was, to do these by donations, like free for all, anyone that would show up to our Zoom call or come to the studio in Mexico. And the transformations were unbelievable. I was dating someone at the time in Mexico, and her mother was a Jehovah's Witness rageaholic, married to an alcoholic, drug addict, alcoholic son, just a total mess. She didn't speak a word of English. She came over to the studio, went through the process with Dawn through a translator in Spanish. And after that 2 hour or so event, all of the rageaholic, all of it, all of the toxicity that she was creating unconsciously, gone. We met up with her a few months later and she was still in an absolute state of bliss. Like, just couldn't even explain it. We had to do a Google Translate because she was telling us so much with Spanish, and we had to figure it all out. But that's one example of literally hundreds I could give you that I've witnessed firsthand from Dawn's program. And anyone that's gotten close to me has at least been open and willing enough to try it. Because how are you going to understand anything that I'm saying right now without actually experiencing it for yourself? So I have Dawn here in the Philippines. We've got him to agree to once a month doing the process live for the community. And we record every single event. And it's inside the membership portal that you can literally get into for free right now. We've been on this call for an hour and a half almost. You could have went through the program already and experienced what I'm telling you. So I'm going to let a couple other people share because they've had their own unique and powerful experiences. Sam, who came here just a week ago, who's now committed his whole life to this crazy mission that intellectually he understood because he met Dawn via Zoom about a year ago and went through his process, totally changed his life. But being here in person, eye to eye with Dawn and going through the program last weekend, complete different experience. And I want him to share that with you. And then we'll pass it over to Josh to share his. Sam, you want to come up here real quick? Thanks, buddy. All right, take it away.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, the financial piece always is interesting, but there's literally no other aspect about what we're doing here at Incomation that gets me as just excited as the work that we do with Dawn. Personally, when I first got introduced to Dawn and the I Am Divinity process, it was interesting because I had known Jamie like through Instagram. We were actually building the same company at one point. Had some massive success with that company. But like he said, no matter how much money I've made, and I've been in the industry for over a decade, I realized like I was constantly working towards something that was really just trying to fill a void, trying to earn my worth, and I would never had any kind of balance in my life. It was all so extreme where I was like all in on like just trying to find my worth. And what I realized is that we don't have to actually build ourselves up to become someone new. We really just have to discover who we truly are. And Jamie shared like this story about, I forgot who the artist was, but it was just beautifully put, where he had brought a piece of marble, and at the end of the day, he didn't necessarily have to create, he just had to chip away at everything that it wasn't, right, to get to the masterpiece. And so you on this call, you're a masterpiece. You just have to figure out who you are not, and that is the quote unquote ego. And so getting back to my story, I had met Jamie online through the company we were building at the time, and it was interesting because I had seen a distinct shift in him. Not only the pink hair, he had some pink hair at the time, and I was like, what the heck is this guy on? Like, there is something different about him. And he actually messaged me through Instagram message. He's like, hey, if you want to meet my mentor Dawn, blah blah blah. And he mentioned how he had gone through a lot of like personal development, quote unquote personal development. Same thing with me. I was in the industry for so long, and the intellectual pursuit and the building up of who you are was so like pushed onto us. So I went through like every single workshop that you could think of, whether it's transformational, the Tony Robbins of the industry, the energy work, the psychedelic, the plant medicine, the breath work. I got certified in every single quote unquote like holistic healing. And there was literally nothing that blew me away like the process I did with Dawn. And so it was just so profound, and all of the trauma, all of the near-death experiences, everything that I had gone through in the 30 years I had basically been on this plane had been gone in an instant. It was like literally an instant and permanent transformation. And via the Zoom the first time, it was really, really powerful. But like Jamie said, like meeting Dawn in person was a completely different kind of energy. And ever since I've done that, it's been probably, I don't know, maybe a few days. Like, I don't know, like I literally sleep maybe 3 to 4 hours a day. I have more energy than I've ever had. Like all kinds of like, even I was dealing with some gut issues. All that has gone away. It was just like so many different things. And actually, I don't know if Megan's on the call, but I had learned how to do the process from Dawn intuitively just by being in this state. And I was helping some people because I really just want people to feel what I feel, just like how Jamie and Dawn, they literally were just giving this away to people, and we're giving this away to you too. I was just giving this away to like the people that I cared about. And Megan had been dealing with a issue for the last 2 years, actually, where it was her spine. Her spine was literally misaligned, and her hip was also not in place. And so after the session, she literally messaged me. She's like, I don't know what the heck happened, but my spine got aligned and my hip popped in like 8 different ways, and I literally have no more pain. So this process is absolutely phenomenal. It's next level, and we're literally giving it away to you guys for free. So I don't know what else we need to do, to really convey to you that we care about you. We want to see you free, not just financially, but within, because you can go your whole life making money. And then once you get there, you realize that that's actually not what you were looking for. I know so many people in the industry that drink their nights away because they're still lacking. They're multimillionaires, they're doing all the drugs, they're going to the club, all this stuff. It's because they still haven't found who they truly are. And so I really hope that one person at least resonates with what we're talking about and commits to really going all in and to discovering all that they are. So thank you guys for being here. Thanks for listening to my story. And thank you, Jamie.
Awesome, Sam. Thank you for sharing your golden heart. It's funny how pulled we are to share this so strongly with you. And it's literally right in front of you right now, absolutely free. There's zero excuses to just do it. And I could share like just countless stories. But you need to realize that you are creating everything that you're experiencing. You are the creator. And the ego has convinced us that we're complete victims to life. So if you're not creating and making those decisions from a fully aware, conscious place, because I assure you, you are creating everything, but you're not aware of it if you're in the ego. So then the question is, if you're not making those decisions, who is creating and making those decisions for you? Not the person that has your best interests at heart. I'll tell you that. You are the person that has your best interests at heart. And you're giving your power away to all of these externals. There's absolutely no way that if I didn't go through that process of rediscovering who I truly am, that I would be creating all these systems. You think before I would have thought, oh, yeah, the banking system's a total scam. I'll just create my own. That's the solution. No, absolutely not. Would have been a victim to it. Said, oh, yeah, I just keep getting screwed over and there's nothing we can do because they all control everything and blah, 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 blah. But once you know that you're creating everything, you get your power back. One story comes to mind. Dawn worked with a lady in her 60s, begrudgingly. She kept begging him. And finally, he said, okay, because he didn't think she was ready. She was hobbling over. He had to help her step down the stairs. She was in her 60s, terrible back problems, everything, just. And she goes through his process. And afterwards, they're literally dancing together after the program, after she had discovered this root cause of all of her pain that she'd been repeating for 60 plus years. And here's the tricky part, that for those of you that go through the process, hear me when I say this, because you do have free will. And absolutely at any time you can choose to go back to the ego energy, and you've been used to it your whole life, and the ego is not going to go down without a fight. I'll tell you that. So after Dawn follows up with her a little while after, long after, she goes, oh, my back, everything is awesome. And praise Jesus, praise Jesus. Dawn said, well, what are you praising Jesus for? Well, he did this. He healed me. Dawn said, no, you did that. You healed you. And of course, blasphemy. And she didn't talk to Dawn after that. So he left her with one question. He said, if it was Jesus that did this, why did he wait 60 years? And I share that because no matter what it is, these traditional programs have convinced you to give your power away. So no matter what you've done in your life, good or bad, you're giving the power away. Like I said, other humans are taking that power and creating everything and allowing you to just be a cog in the wheel, a slave to their system. So again, I encourage you to literally just get the link from whoever referred you, get in the back office in the membership portal. You can go through the program. If you've been listening to us long enough, I mean, seriously, if you haven't done it yet, what are you waiting for? I want to bring Josh on real quick to share his experience. He obviously had a crazy financial experience. That was just one of the things, because his focus is there, that opened up. But he also had a couple friends and family that just had traumatic shifts, like unbelievable, unimaginable. If you told anyone in the traditional system about what their experience was, they wouldn't believe you. But I trust that by now, if you've been around us and felt who we are, and you know that we're telling you the truth. We have no reason to lie to you. So, Josh, you mind coming on and Sharon?
Hey, give me 10 seconds.
Yeah, go for it. So I'll take those 10 seconds and let you guys know that just yesterday, we found out about the world's largest indoor arena that's ever been built. It's been in construction since 2012. And guess where it was built? Any guesses? Throw it in the chat. Guess where the world's largest indoor arena was built? You got it, Tiffany. Davao City in the Philippines. 99% of you probably never even heard of it, other than from us. The third largest in the smallest country, almost, whatever. It's just a bunch of islands. It was built literally 10 minutes from where we're based. And get this, look it up. It's called King Dome Arena. King Dome Arena. It's all purple and pink. Like what? Who builds the world's largest arena? And here's the kicker. We were laughing last night. They said, yeah, it'll be for concerts and sporting events. And I start cracking up like, what sports team is in the Philippines that can fill 75,000 people in a stadium? Like a sporting event? What are they going to do? Like, seriously. So we know it was built for us, and it launches April of this year. There's 150 condo rooms inside the building that we'll have for the VIPs that show up to the event. So for the next 100 days, we are recruiting a total army to be able to fill and pack that arena. So that April of this year, the very first event in the world's largest indoor arena will be us. And all of you can go through this divinity experience we're talking about live in the world's largest arena. And literally a 5-minute drive from there, and then a 5-minute boat ride, is this brand new 5-star resort, absolutely beautiful, with 1,000-person convention room and villas on the ocean, on the white sandy beach. And that's where we'll have the after event for those of you that are resonating with our mission. So super excited for all that. We'll keep on sending you out the details for those of you that feel the call to come to the Philippines. But Josh, I see you're back. You go ahead and share your story.
Yeah, so with Don's and his process, I mean, I could talk about this one for hours and hours. But me personally, when I did the process, it was in 2020, right after C-19 hit. So the world was absolutely upside down, and I was just searching for that extra, okay, the world's in shambles, I better get my mental and myself in check. So we were actually in Asia right when COVID hit, and then flew back to Canada to bunker down in the mountains. And Jamie, the first month or two that we got there, he started sending me these videos and these messages of Dawn. And it was like, okay, man, just do whatever it takes to get me, and at the time, my closest friends there. So we drove over 5 hours from where we were living to go do this process and session. And for me in my personal life, I've never had any crazy childhood trauma. My childhood was just your typical middle class childhood, great family, great parents, so never had trauma in that regard. So when I went to do the process, the main thing that Don would point out for me personally is he gave me a metaphor, if you will, and that was he put a rock in my hand and compared it to a brick of gold. And for me, in my business career prior, I would make tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then in of an eye, all that money was gone. So the big takeaway for me of what he pointed out, again, was on specifically the financial side. And then the analogy was you simply don't have the belief in yourself to obtain and hold this goal. So 1 year after working with Don, probably 1 year, 2 months to be exact, is when I completely cashed out my crypto portfolio with an 8,000% gain. And to be honest, I've basically been personally retired off of that cash out ever since. So that's me and the financial side, which is really, to be honest, not that interesting to me, because what is interesting to me is in this world, people suffer with much more baggage, if you will, than just the financial side of things. So after going through the journey with Dawn, I knew that I literally had to get all my friends and family there. So I actually got Dawn to come to my hometown to do this process with all my friends and family. So again, this is where I see the most value and joy for me, is because of these stories that I'm about to share. So my one individual I brought, they were suffering with severe schizophrenia, massive schizophrenia episodes. They're on over 5 different types of medication. And when they did Dawn's process, 1 week later, this individual was on 0 pills, 0 medications, and their schizophrenia episodes were gone. So that's one of the examples. Another example, my good buddy brought his mom to the process, who was a severe alcoholic, drinking bottles and bottles and bottles a day. And exact same statistic. 1 week after Dawn's process, this individual didn't even have the desire to have another sip of alcohol. And then another example, it's kind of more so on the business financial side, more so the creative side. But I brought a couple of my friends to this process and event who were musicians. So prior to Dawn, they would take over a year just to create an album. And then after doing Dawn's process, he told them, guys, tap into the knowledge that I just gave you, and I challenge you to create an album in 1 week. Guess what? After Dawn's process, they created literally their best and most viral album in that 1 week process. So yeah, that's my personal journey with Dawn and some of my friends. Like I said, to me, it's more impressive of seeing some of the individuals who I brought there, who were literally, they're young, they're in their early 20s, but they were walking towards their gravestone because of the trajectory they were on and what they created of their mental health problems. And just to see those type of problems be literally eliminated within a week's time, that was, to me, the most value that I got out of it. And that's why I'm here sharing this with you guys today, is because of those situations and those stories. And then what I can close off with, so you guys can understand the value you have access to, is that when we first started working with Don, myself and my friends, he was still doing it as, obviously he was doing it to help people, but he needs to pay the bills as well. So he was doing it as a business as well. But why I bring this up is because each and every one of my friends, including myself, we each paid $8,000 to do this process, which is priceless. So I'm not complaining about the dollar value, but why I'm saying this is because you guys have this for free in the back office right now. So the financial side of things, there's absolutely no excuses to be made. As stated, my friends and myself paid over $8,000 for this. So yeah, that's all about my stories and the individuals we brought stories, which, as I'm sure, sounds quite metaphysical, if you will. But yeah, Jamie, back to you.
Awesome, Josh. Thanks for sharing, man. I always love seeing you light up and how you were able to be the connector for those people that just absolutely completely change their life because of you. It's so powerful, man. And yeah, that, by the way, that $8,000, I had to really convince Don, like, hey, these guys are young guys, they're just starting out, like, come on, man, these are my bros, like, you really gotta you gotta help them out here. I know you're used to working with the multimillionaire CEOs, but these guys will be worth it. And yeah, it's been quite a journey from that. And yeah, and imagine what Josh is saying. He had a relatively healthy upbringing, but still was completely unconsciously sabotaging himself over and over again.
It was generational programs. I did not grow up in wealth.
Yeah, 100% poverty consciousness. And that's just one of the, it was the obvious one, but I can assure you, like, if you took that false belief that Josh had in himself and you put it out 20, 30 years, imagine how just like how tough that would have been, and see creating those health problems or whatever later on. Because how many times can you go up and completely crash without just totally losing all belief in life? And that's where a lot of people get to the totally depressed and suicidal stage. Just imagine just constantly sabotaging yourself year after year after year after year for decades, right? Josh was I think you were 20 years old when you went through, maybe, yeah, 20, around there, when you went through the program.
21, 22.
21, 22, yeah. So even though you started early as an entrepreneur, you're just starting out in life. I can tell you, just me having roughly 10 more years on you, it was weighing on me a lot more, going through 10 more years of sabotage. Like, you can still keep the spirits high after going through it a few times, but when you go through it 50, 100 times, I mean, man, it doesn't get better. Okay, the trajectory is like this no matter how long it takes. So anyway, I'm just super at a loss for words, grateful that we got that. I mean, even me, I felt I was still so young to get it at 30. Yeah, I couldn't imagine repeating what I was repeating for decades more and not having a solution. That would have been pretty depressing. I can see, I've never been suicidal. I can see how people would get to that stage, though. So like Josh said, no excuse. You've been with us over an hour and a half, so you could have already done it time-wise. So you can't say you don't have the time. And we took the price tag away, so you can't say you don't have the money. So Sam's saying something. Yeah, we literally, we can't keep it for free forever here. We got a whole system to keep building, a lot of developments. I mean, land, we got to rent this world's largest arena now. Like, there's a lot of things that we can't just give everything away for free forever. But we've been doing that for weeks and weeks now. And I'm telling you right now, no matter what, February 1st, there's going to be an entrance fee. So if you're one of the lucky few to be hearing this message before we really ramp up for February 1st, seriously, what the fuck is your excuse? Please, like, we're begging you. There's nothing in it for us other than your own transformation. And I just know the good heart, goodwill that will come from that, as you'll want to experience sharing it with others and seeing them light up because of you. There's not a bigger gift in the world that you could give someone. Dan's asking about an email. I want to give you one last story, and then we're going to open up for questions. One of my best buddies at the time, his name was also Joshua. He had been through a car accident years before I had met him, and completely paralyzed himself from the waist down. The doctor said he would never walk again. He was a strong-willed guy, went through a lot of personal development, the Think and Grow Riches and whatever. So, he used that positive energy to the point where he could walk, but in a walker. Okay. So he was 28 when we met, and he came down to Mexico. It was the first time we met. And I literally had to carry him on my shoulder into the ocean. He's from Saskatchewan in Canada, like farm area in the middle of Canada. Never had been in the ocean before. And I had to carry this guy on my shoulder into the ocean so he could experience the ocean. And he sat on the sand, legs just couldn't work without the walker. Okay. I introduce him to Don. He goes through Don's process. This was about 2 years ago. He resisted for about a year after I was telling him, like, you got to experience this. But after about a year, he showed up in Vancouver to meet Don, went through the program. And the next day, and we have a video. We have a video of it. He threw his walker on the ground, sprinted on an open field, sprinted. Then he grabbed his walker and was carrying it, running on the dock like this. Because, like Josh was sharing with you, Joshua now didn't know who he truly was. He thought he was this identity of the cripple, the victim. Now, this is where it gets really crazy. After he had experienced that, after we got it on video, Joshua blocked me on all social media and cut communication with Don, and come to find out he had moved back to Saskatchewan and he was back in his walker till this day. Why? That's a great question. He was so attached to the ego victim identity that he didn't have to take any responsibility for his life because everyone else was taking care of him, because poor Joshua in the walker, that he had given up that experience that he had to go back into that ego energy, back into the walker. And he's shared stuff on social media. He's now unblocked me, so I've seen a few things. And every time he shares something, like, his victim story of, I'm day by day getting stronger, still in my walker. All I do is I share the video clip that we have of him sprinting, saying, not day by day, bud. Remember, it was an instant. It was an instant and it all went away. And of course, he just deletes those video clips so that his audience doesn't see it, so he can remain in the victim. How fucking crazy is that? And so if you're still listening to this and you're not running to the membership portal to go through this 1.5-hour call that we're telling you about, then in some degree or another, you're just as attached to the ego as Joshua is to remain in his fucking walker. What excuse do you have? Because in 2 weeks, I know what your excuse is going to be. I can't afford the 5,000 or whatever we decide it is. Can't afford the 2,000. But you can afford to live in that state for the rest of your life? Seriously. It's free. Please just go do it. Please. I think we'll wrap with that. Okay, we'll bring it up for questions. We got on board in 9 minutes. So anyone that wants to put up their hand, any questions, comments, feel free. We're opening up the lines. I see Dan's hand. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I've been away from things for about a month, so Not even sure where to go to the portal and all that.
Okay, man, no worries. If you have your login from before, then just
I,
go
I
to,
remember you saying that I needed to go back and find my old member number and all that stuff and fill out a form or something.
okay, so will drop the link in the chat here. It's portal.incomation.com. And just hit forgot password, you'll get new logins to your email. And if that doesn't work, then you never had logins. Just reach out to
Yeah, I
us.
was a pioneer.
Yeah, so you should have logins. If
Just
you don't,
jump on this portal.information.
portal.incomation.com. Yeah.
Okay.
You sent his login? Okay, we'll just send you logins just in case. So you sent it to his email? Okay, you just got it in real time to your email. So we took away that excuse.
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate you, Dan. All right, anyone else? Is Nua still on the call here? He is. Nua, man, I'm waiting for the message. We sponsored you. What the heck? You coming up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am coming out, my man. I felt like I'm kind of in the gym. I'm getting my divinity taken care of in the sauna. You know, I'm sweating, pouring. I had a after shedding many tears after that call. I had to like just put gratefulness back out in the universe. And I was like, man, he was serious. Like I have it on recording. He's not joking. So I had to kind of pinch myself. And absolutely, I am coming out. I just little details here and there. I gotta figure out with the fan bam, and then I'm just on a high. I'm just on a super duper high, and I thank you, information, Jamie, and Don, and I'm gonna reach out to you, and then we'll get the details squared away. But absolutely, 1,000,000%, I went out there. Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much. I gotta punch myself, man. I was just like, nah, he was joking. And I go back and I'm like, no, he wasn't. And then to be honest, I wanted to refuse your offer because I was kind of like, no, I gotta do it myself. And then I can hear it's crazy. I can hear Jamie's voice in the back of my head, like, Nora, shut the F up. Couldn't let you get your ego getting couldn't let your ego get me in the way of someone who's trying to bless you. I kept hearing you. I was like, no, I'm gonna message you and say, no, I'm gonna pay for it myself. And I'm like, okay, that might take another month or two. And I'm like, were you really gonna say no? Be okay with putting your ego to the side and allow someone to bless you that you've never had do for you before. So I was struggling with that back and forth, and that's it. I'm just gonna submit myself and accept this blessing, because I know when I'm there and I reach that financial wealth, it will allow me to bless others immensely. And 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 just for people to know, like that don't know, like I don't know Jamie that yet. Like we just barely. I've been watching him for about a year. He doesn't know that, other than me telling me. I've been on the sidelines. And then when it comes to a point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, we go through so many people, what Brady talks about, people that act like they want, they really pray, they don't. Why? Because I've learned they're not listening to their words, I'm listening to their actions. And their actions don't match. Jamie's action, bro, I'm in like Massa right now, to the gym, and try not to cry because I gave all these teams up the other day. But I learned to be comfortable being uncomfortable from listening to you. And one of the things I forgot to say yesterday was what I'm so grateful for is June had lost a child. For those that that don't know, And within a month, he was already back on Zoom calls with us. I want to say it was about a month. But correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the turnaround was quick, and I could not believe it. I could not believe the dedication this man has for the normal Joes, normal middle class people like myself. And he came back on the Zoom with a big ass smile. That's the type of people I want to connect with. That's the type of people I want to link up with and call my brother, because his heart is immensely big. And for someone to go through the adversity that he's gone through, and I've watched it for a whole year, people talking shit about him because of the prop firms and not believing him and thinking he's going to run away. He stood his ground. He stood on all tens and didn't run away. And I watched it. He didn't hide. He was completely transparent. And I have 5 kids of my own. I'm a princess that's 2 years old. So that hit home for me. And Jamie lost his child. I cried because I thought of my own kid. I thought of my own children. But what made me 100%, 1,000% believe in Jamie and his vision and inclination and the people he's been able to link up with was that he turned around less than a month. He was back on the Zoom, ready to get going with us. I don't know what dedication is if that ain't dedication. I mean, I was like, what the hell? Jamie doesn't know this. This is the first time he's hearing this. I was just in awe. I would lose my mind if I lost my little 2-year-old princess. I would lose my mind. I don't know if I could bounce back from that. But obviously Jamie is doing something right to where he's able to have the strength to overcome the adversity that he's gone through. The people throwing stones at him, he stands on all tens and takes it and comes back and says, basically, is that all you got? Who's got the biggest foot in the stone? I'm here forever. That does not happen, especially in this arena. It's hard to find people like Jamie, like Josh, like Sam, like Don. These guys are the sauce. I'm a firm believer, and I can't wait to come to the Philippines. And for those that don't know, he's blessed me to come out there. He doesn't know me from Adam, but I think there's something called energy and genuine that can obviously come through on a Zoom. So I have nothing but love and respect for you, Jamie, once again, from the bottom of my heart. I love you, and I haven't met you physically. So thank you so much. Sorry to cry again. I'm a baby ever since you did this to me. I made me a freaking baby. Real men don't cry, right? No, real men do cry because we all cry, and I had to learn to be okay with that. So love you, Jamie. I will be in contact with you. Got nothing but love and respect. Josh, thank you so much for being transparent. All you guys, this is the dream team right here, people. And February 1st, I've got so many more people to bless to come to this, to your, get my link to sign up. I had 3 people hit me today. Hey, can you explain? No, shut the F up. Just sign up. And I'll send it to you later. I'm busy. Like, I'm going through the whole transformation thing. And because of my love and respect that I have with my closest, they just, okay, all right, I'll sign up. Let me know. We'll do a call. But guys, I don't know if you guys realize the gem that Jamie has with us. And if you guys have any questions about, like, if you think what he's doing is nefarious or malicious or that he's not real, I'm here to tell you that he is real. I've seen the growth. I've seen him evolve, and I'm bearing witness to that. I love you, Jamie. I'll be in contact with you, brother. Thank you so much.
Oh man, Nua, man, I'm so excited to have you out here. You better get with me instantly before the ego convinces you to change your mind again. Appreciate you being fully transparent about that. Of course, it's gonna attack you. The last thing it wants to do is die, dude. It knows that you complete that process, it won't be able to live with you anymore. The crazy part too is it's so stupid that it doesn't realize as it keeps sabotaging and killing you, it dies as well if you did actually die. But that's a whole other story for a whole other call, I guess. We got to get onto the onboarding. But yeah, man, get out here ASAP. We want to have you here. You earned it. You created that, and everything that you're seeing in me and appreciating, it's because you have it in you too, man. Josh knows me before this whole process. I'm a completely different person because I discovered the true me, not the ego me that was operating for all those years since birth. And all of you, the reason why you're so tuned in, the reason why you feel the energy is because you're seeing who you are too. It's reminding you, it's waking you up. The light is shining through the very dark tunnel that we've all been through to get to this point. So yes, real men do cry. When my beautiful, beautiful Athena was in my hands and passed, man, 3 days straight, bawling and crying non-stop. And on the fourth day, I was ready to do a Zoom. That's the power when you know who you are. Don as well. Within 15 months, he had lost his daughter and his wife. Within 15 months, both passed with cancer. And because he's so aware and he had the tools to help them overcome that cancer, he had to not only watch them pass, but actually choose to pass. His wife had lost a son before they had met, and she wanted to be with him. That was her reasoning. There was nothing Don could have done to change that decision. And his wife, or his daughter, was in a toxic relationship with an abuser and a narcissist. And she hid information that was happening to her from him, from Don. And she chose that it was an easier path to pass than to confront her abusing husband. And same story, man. I mean, bawled and cried for days and days. And the following weekend, in both cases, Don was doing a group program to bring other people through the process. So yeah, it's a lot of, it's the biggest gift. I have no words. And there's no reason to convince you anymore because all you got to do is get inside and do it. And I saw a couple questions. Yes, we are uploading every month the new recorded version of Don's process. We'll also have you guys live on Zoom. We'll be streaming it at the same time that we have the group in person here that will be going through the program in person. You'll be able to watch that live. But for those of you that choose to be here, that's an opportunity as well that absolutely priceless. I don't care how you got to get here. Absolutely priceless. And as Josh said, he drove 5 hours in a freaking snowstorm and gave a lot of money. At that time, that was a lot of money to Josh. It was a lot of money. And that's how, even as he said, didn't experience much trauma, but that's how committed and willing he was to find that deeper that deeper experience of what we are all here to experience, but it's a choice because we have free will. So now's the time to make your choice. And at this point, if you've been tuning in, you've been watching us for the last few weeks, months even, and you haven't gone and done that process, seriously, you may as well just tune out. This is not for you. There's no reason why you shouldn't have gone through that after what we've done to gift it. There's absolutely no reason, except for the reasons as Nua was explaining and as I was explaining with my good old friend in the walker, that the ego you've been living in your whole life is going to find a fucking reason because it uses your own creativity against you. You gave it the keys to drive. It's using all of your power, all of your gifts against you, convincing you it's protecting you by killing you. It's continually killing your energy. Give you a prime example. Open up the call with the example of, and Josh mentioned the C19, right? The Corona, the whatever you want to call it. Oh, I think maybe we'll be censored on the platforms for saying it because it goes against the narrative that it's real. And so millions and millions of people that were in that fear-based external reference ego system were very easy to say, hey guys, there's a virus that's going to kill you all if you breathe. So put on 13 masks and get our injection that hasn't been proven, that's full of poison, because it's going to protect you by actually killing you. Sounds like the ego to me. That's just one example. I don't know what else we ought to say for you to get in there. But we're going to keep saying shit every single night until you either say, I don't even want to tune into this anymore because these guys are absolutely fucking crazy, or fuck it, I'm in. So I love you guys. We're late to the onboarding as usual. So we'll jump on there and we'll show you how to sign up for the crypto wallet and use your credit card to buy some cryptos so that you can put some change into the piggy bank that will increase your dollars that is tied to your net worth, which is tied to your actual worth in the ecosystem. We'll show you how to do that in 60 seconds. I love you guys. I love you guys. That's it. I'm out. This will be recorded. It's on a bunch of platforms until we get censored and banned. So watch it while you can. And as always, we'll be doing it tomorrow. It's Sunday tomorrow. Man, there's a whole lot of fun things that we could be doing. Hey, boys? On a Sunday. We have absolutely no reason to get on here and just share the truth. For absolute no financial reward right now. We've got no reason to do it, but hey, we're going to do it. So Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern, we'll be going live and sharing the sauce, as Nua said. And we'll be doing the onboarding too to help you get some wallets and help you increase your pennies, so that maybe you'll feel more free and you can buy some more inflated groceries or whatever you got to do to survive in the ecosystem, if that's what you choose. So before I really piss everyone off, I'm gonna close down the Zoom and start the onboarding. Will, can you drop the link in the Zoom chat? Okay, awesome. Just when you thought it wouldn't get any crazier yesterday, huh? Man, it's like we finished the calls. We couldn't sleep last night. It was 4 or 5 a.m. And we're like, man, like this energy is just downloading. And we thought yesterday's call, the day before call, would be like the best ever, best yet. And then the next call is like, holy shit, where did that come from? Just fire hose. So good luck continuing to tune into this if you're not ready to make a shift. I mean, I don't know. At least at the very least can get scared away. So Will, you dropped it? Okay. We'll stop the recording here. Thanks, Josh. Really appreciate you coming on to the onboarding, showing people how to buy their first crypto. You know, that after working with multimillionaires for the last bunch of years, really appreciate you staying on here for a couple hours and walking them through how to download an app and buy some.
Hey, it's also my weekend and it's summertime in Colombia.
Yeah, it's always summer somewhere, isn't it? What is it not? Yeah. Oh man, I know. You could be at the waterfalls right now. Whatever you want to do. And we realize that all of you guys could too. Be doing what you want, but you're with us, so may as well share the truth with you while we're here, and may as well help you step by step with whatever you need, so that all of the excuses are eliminated. Every single little bullshit ego infinite list of creative excuses that is holding you back for the last decades, we'll be here to walk you through into the light, and so that you can actually enjoy your life for the rest of it. So excited to do that. I'm going to shut up now. See you on the onboarding.